Welcome to the Whiskey with Winners podcast, the show with business titans sharing their stories of the highs and lows of entrepreneurship. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite glass of whiskey, and listen to the real and raw stories of these industry leaders. Now, here's your host, the man, the myth, the legend, the most interesting marketer, Jacob Fail.
What's up, everybody? It's Jacob Fail, the most interesting marketer, CEO and founder of Brute Media Group, and welcome to the Whiskey with Winners podcast. So today we have a very special guest. He is a war hero. He has been a fitness model, been on all the magazines. He's been grown his company, his manufacturing company, to 9 figures in, I believe, 3 years. So I want to welcome Colin Wayne.
Man, I appreciate it, brother. That's a hell of an intro, and I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, you've done all the work yourself, so you're well worthy of it. So let's dive in. We really want to know about who you are as a person and where you grew up, what you've done over the past few years, but really want to dive into your childhood and also the military. So tell us where you all got started.
So, born and raised in Huntsville, Alabama. I was raised in a split home. Mother primarily raised me. Got an older brother who's definitely a big role model in my life. Got a younger sister. And yeah, I mean, it was a good childhood. I was emancipated though at 16. There was a reason behind that. I needed to join the military. So at 17, at 16 got my GED, joined the military. A lot of people don't know that my highest level of education is a high school dropout with a GED. And
Awesome.
I take pride at that now. I want to beat the statistic that, you don't have to go to, you don't have to go and get an Ivy League degree to be successful. Like, you just have to execute and have inner confidence and the ability to market yourself or the products, or both. I mean, and you really need both, essentially.
Yeah.
But joined the military at 17, served almost 7 years, volunteered to go on 3 different deployments, one to Egypt in 2007, one to Iraq in 2009, 2010, and then Afghanistan was in 2012. Ended up getting injured in Afghanistan and sent home about 6 months in to my deployment. Had shrapnel that went all the way through my leg, almost lost it. Had nerve damage, L1 through L3 in my back. Had to have a lumbar block fusion for it. And then 6 months of physical therapy to rewalk and stuff. So ended up transitioning into recruiting, and that's kind of helped on the sales and marketing side. I was always intrigued by it, but I ended up, while I was in the military, shooting with a local photographer, and I started a Facebook page, and that's where it all kind of transcended from there. Now, at this time, this was about 2013. There were no Facebook ads, and it was a great time. There was no algorithm. If somebody liked your page, it was going to their profile in their newsfeed. So it was an incredible time to grow and leverage the growth of social media, and 100,000 followers within 30 days of me launching
crazy.
it. I ended up not knowing anything about it, and started leveraging that to start growing with other people. It doesn't work now, but Share for Shares were huge back in the day.
Yeah.
And it worked. You worked with a group of people that was interested in your demographic. For my case, it was fitness. And so there were a few other people that I would connect with, and groups outside of fitness that I would leverage. And what a lot of people don't know is I've got 3.7, 3.8 million followers under my umbrella. But then I also have an additional 4.6 million followers on Facebook through other pages that are non-branded as me. Mm-hmm. And so I started to use that as leverage to have those big accounts. They would share my profile, and then other influencers, I would share them on those big pages. They would share me on mine, so it would look organic. And so my page would stay very, very clean, while these other large pages that I'd own, they would continue to grow everyone else, including myself, as well as a distribution outlet for me. And so, that started the social media side. I ended up getting not medically released from the military. A lot of people think, after the injury, I was medically retired. I always
Right.
wanted to be a U.S. Marshal, and so I didn't want to go through the medical chaptering
Right.
out. I actually got a conditional release based on change of lifestyle, and so a lot of times that
Mm.
happens when people end up like it's happened when people like hit the lottery. There's
Right.
some type of drastic change. It has to go all the way to the tag, like the a general at the state level. So it goes from
Right.
company commander, battalion commander, brigade commander, and all the way up these chains. And they're like, yes, I agree.
Right. Change of
And so ended
lifestyle.
up, yeah. So I did my initial 6 years, signed up for another 3. So I was going to do 9, and ended up getting out right at the 7-year mark. So when I got out of the military, started doing fitness modeling, and that took off. But I was able to leverage all of that through the social side, and so that played a significant impact on anything that I wanted, whether that was monetarily or landing all the magazine covers in the world. 50 plus. And I think what I love about it is that was without an agency or without a PR firm. It's one
Right.
thing to go and pay an agency to go and do it, but like having the pride to say, no, I did this. And so,
Right.
but anybody can do that. You don't have to live in California. You don't have to live in New York City. Like you can be successful no matter where you live, because we live in a time of day where social media is such an impact driver, and
Yeah.
leverage your personal brand to get essentially anything that you want. And so I did that by showing value based to the, like, let's say Muscle and Fitness, for instance.
Right.
I'd reach out to them, and I would attribute value. I would never. This is what a lot of people also don't know. They're like, man, you must have made a ton of money by being on all those covers. And typically there is a talent fee, but I
Right.
never. That's what I led off with. I don't charge talent fees. And so I look at it holistically from a much larger view, kind of like
Right.
the 100-foot view, where I'm not going to monetize from them, but inadvertently it's going to raise my credibility and social proof, where I can go and leverage a 6-figure contract with, let's say, Under Armour, Nike, and some of these
Right.
larger brands that has the cash flow to work with someone like myself. And I had to use that as leverage to offset myself from everyone else. So that ended up doing great. I ended up getting out. I looked at it from like, I'm big on challenges, and
Yeah.
it wasn't challenging at that point. I look at it as the analogy
Right.
of like I love fishing. So go into like a stock pond, and every time you cast it, you're going to get a fish.
You're gonna catch one.
And it's not as fun as like going to the Tennessee River and you just don't know what's going to happen. And so
Right.
essentially it was like that. There's still a lot of pride in being able to do that and accomplish it. But at the same time, I wanted something more. And there was some type of inner peace that I wasn't happy with. And so from the outside looking in, a lot of people are like, why do you want to get out of this? You're doing so great. That is true. But at the same time, there's levels to it. And also like the liability to say now I had a son perspective.
Mhm.
I had a son, I have a wife at that time. And now I've got 3 kids now, two girls
Oh wow.
and my son, Carson. But I was like, what happens if I get into a car accident and I lose half of my face? I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking worst case scenario.
Right.
That's a massive impact. And when you look at it even deeper, I'm a high school dropout. Like, I
Right.
just have a GED. I can't go and get this type of, contract by doing normal stuff. Like, so it was very concerning for me. And I had no reason to doubt that was going to happen, but you just don't know, man. So I have to be
Yeah.
prepared for it. And I felt like the only way for me to be prepared is if I were to leverage that and start my own company. And so I saw a
Right.
market opportunity and just went after it. And that transitions into Redline Steel, which is my steel manufacturing company.
Right. So you're the number one wall decor company in the U.S., right? Or even
Yes.
probably in the world, huh?
Well, so we only ship within the United States right now,
Okay.
but we've shipped over 4 million products in the last 3.5 years. So,
That's incredible.
we have 110,000 square feet. We're 3.5 years old as an e-commerce brand, but we just hit year 4, January 6th. So
Nice.
so last month we just hit our 4-year mark, and we just submitted our paperwork for ink. Finally was eligible
Oh yeah.
for the ink
Awesome.
list. So yeah, I'm excited to see where we ended up on that list. So yeah.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. So you've only been in business for 4 years. You started out with a with basically a kitchen oven and a CNC machine.
Yeah.
And then from there, you were working, I believe, 16 to 18-hour days, and then living in a camper. So tell us
That
a
was a
little bit
few
about
months.
like,
It wasn't always.
oh,
I didn't
okay.
have to live in a camper. So it
Right. It
was
was to save time, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's I want to make sure there's a very clear picture. It's not like I couldn't afford a house. I did have one. I didn't want to drive 30 to 45 minutes round trip. So it's about 25-minute drive or so
Yeah.
home and then all the way back home when I'm working that much anyways. And so it's not an exaggeration when you're saying, working 15, 16 hours a day consistently. That's pretty damn accurate. And it's also, that was only a period of, it was pretty damn long, but fourth quarter is always crazy.
Right.
And so it was only about 3 months for the RV side. And
Yeah.
then, first quarter through third quarter, most e-com brands kind of slowed down a little bit. And so, I was able to, I was still working pretty much 7 days a week, but it wasn't as long of hours. Still minimums of about 12 hours a day. So,
Yeah.
but it takes that type of effort to build a brand to where it is, to date. So, it takes a lot of sacrifice.
So how important of that for you was hiring the right team, and how quickly did you start hiring a team to build that up? Because I mean, obviously you've scaled to, probably you're at what, 60 employees now or more?
Yeah. So fourth quarter, we're about 65 or so, but
Yeah.
we have about 50 now.
Mhm.
And so we finally made a investment this past year, 2019, early, about 7 months ago. Hired a recruiting firm, one of the best investments I could have made, and brought on some senior staff that has a lot of experience. It wasn't a challenge to find people that could work and that was willing to put in that work ethic. And I
Right.
love that because I'm a workaholic as well. And we had a good staff. But the thing is when you're hyper scaling, it's better
Right.
to not, when you're at that almost sprint straight up a damn mountain. It's nice to have seasoned guys that have been there, done that. They can, instead of us working 15, 16 hours, what can we do to maximize the efficiency in the
Mhm.
shop? And so we started building what was essentially built on sand because we were growing so
Mhm.
fast. And now it's we're pouring the concrete, we're building
Right.
the ERP system with Oracle and NetSuite, the infrastructure to continue to scale this into large distribution chains. We're launching on Amazon and we'll be the first ever Prime customized steel decor on Amazon. So there's a lot of market opportunity with what we're doing, and it's still uncharted. So it's still a blue ocean.
Right.
But there's every day, man, I'm seeing new companies pop up left and right, and it's a lot of people are like, "Are you concerned with that?" My response is no, because by the time they get
Right.
to where we're at, we'll be 100 times further than where they are. And if I'm constantly looking at my competitors and analyzing where they are and where we are, I'm not going anywhere. I'm
Right.
looking forward. They can keep looking after me. And by the time they get, remotely to where I'm at right now, I'll be so much further. And that's the best outlook to have is to not chase other people or, do your own thing, man. Be against the grain. And that's how you're going to stand out.
Yeah, definitely. So what advice would you give, since that you're at, the 9-figure mark, and I'm sure that you'll get to the $1 billion mark, and I guess that's your next 3 to 5 year plan.
Yeah. So we're not over 100 million yet. So the CEO
Okay.
board. So you may be thinking of that from that. So we've
Mhm.
we've grossed almost $50 million as a business. So a little,
Right.
we missed that benchmark so the C award through ClickFunnels. I think that's what you're referencing. 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago,
Yeah.
I was at ClickFunnels on stage, and we use ClickFunnels for landing pages on prospecting, new customer acquisition. And so essentially, I'd say majority of our new customers that are coming in, if it's through the
Mhm.
paid side and not organic, it is
Right.
through some type of funnel.
Right.
So I just want to emphasize that we're not at that level yet, but we're working
Right.
on it, and we'll be there sooner than you know it. But I want to make sure that there's integrity behind what we're actually
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
So,
For sure. For sure.
it's been my advice would be to know your avatar, have self-confidence in your product enough to know that if I'm going to sell a product or a service, what is the lifetime value? Do you believe in your product enough to know that they're going to come back? Because that's where the true value is. Value isn't on first-time acquisition. And we've been able to monetize first-time customers and actually profit from it, which is pretty rare.
Yeah.
But knowing that this service or this product that I'm offering is strong enough where this consumer is going to want to come back and order multiple times, and building that brand trust and having that type of quality is something that you should stand behind. I know for me, if I put my name behind it, it's going to be 100%. It's going to be solid. So I want to make sure that no matter what we launch, we have the integrity behind our name, that they know this is going to be a solid product. And I think that that's helped tremendously. I've got a VIP group on Facebook. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but we have over 30,
I think I'm in it as well.
You're in it. Nice.
Yeah.
So we have like 38,000 or so of our top customers. Now it's a private group. We do like invites, but we're about to, there's going to be an offset. We're calling it the VIP elite group, and it's going to be incentivizing them, but we're going to be giving them free products, concierge service, and like over the top when it comes to most companies with stuff and value. And it's always thinking of things outside of the box, but trying to, build that personal relationship with your customers are very important. Yeah,
definitely. For sure. So tell me a little bit. So you got invited to the White House a month ago or 2 months ago or something like that. And tell me how that was. Yeah. So about 6 months ago. So tell me how that was, and tell me like how that happened and what went on behind that.
So in 2017, President Trump declared a national week for manufacturers, and it's called Made in America Week. So it's pretty new. It's something that Trump wanted to support any of the manufacturers in the United States, and they designated an entire week to it. So every state, they select one company per state, and we were hand selected by the Trump administration to represent the state of Alabama. So in July, they only gave us about a 30-day notice or so. They emailed our customer support, and we thought it was a fake email. Had no clue that this can't be real. Like, you're invited to the White House. Like, what?
Yeah.
But we did they did some research. It took 3 days to finally hit my desk. And at that point, it was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And so started looking into the event a little bit more, because at that point it was, they'd already they did 2 years before me. And it was an incredible experience, man. And there's a lot of, I think Trump's done an incredible job from an economic growth standpoint, but it doesn't mean that I'm in alignment with everything. Now, this is what I'll say. Even if Bernie Sanders or Hillary was in office, I would have still went and represented and been proud to go there as a business owner, entrepreneur, also as a veteran who would be our commander in chief. It's an honor to be personally invited to go there. And so a lot of people were like, well, I'm not going to support your brand because you went to the White House.
Right.
I would have went there for anybody, just because it's such a cool experience, a once in a lifetime. Like, you can't see it, but there's a President Trump. He actually bought a flag from us.
Wow.
He sent me a letter and signed it, and it's on my wall, just thanking me for the flag, thanks for attending. And it's really, really cool. But, I wanted to just give it to him. And he's like, look, if it's donated, I can't leave. When my term ends at the White House, I can't bring it with me. And so he ended up buying the flag, which meant 10 times more, because he really wanted
to keep it.
So, yeah, exactly. So that was really cool.
That's awesome. So what do you think is the biggest thing between people that struggle with business and are not successful versus people that are actually successful? Is it giving up too soon, or like what have you seen over the years in business of what do you think?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it comes down to mindset. I think you're either comfortable or you're not comfortable. And the people everybody's going to be in uncomfortable positions. You can build the perfect business plan, but it's going to shift in so many different directions. I think you have to be fluid with the market and know that there's adaptive changes that have to take place. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be in positions where It's whether it's legal, whether it's cash flow problems, whether it's landing new clients, prospecting. There's thousands of micro issues, and as long as you can have that confidence within yourself that no matter what it is, whatever the challenge is, we're going to adapt, improvise, and overcome. And so, I think it's just being comfortable with the uncomfortable. There's some people that can handle it, and there's some people that it just, they crash under pressure. And for me, I would like to think that I do better under pressure than most. In a sense that if I had to come up with $100,000 in 72 hours or my business is going to close, I'm gonna figure the shit out. Like I will do, I'll come up with something crazy from a value perspective, and I'll get whatever's needed. And that's just one scenario, but it's I think it's adaptive to the market and just the self-confidence in your product or service and being comfortable with the uncomfortable. Those three main things. That's a big offset.
Definitely. Now, what are some of the biggest roadblocks that you've had in scaling and building your business?
So that's a good question. Unlike a lot of companies, because we manufacture, there's a lot of moving parts. So some of the biggest challenges with hyper growth has been the incoming orders with outgoing orders. So managing the expectations between the two. It's, when you need the equipment and scaling the business from, 5,000 square feet to over 110,000 square feet, 3 different buildings every year, essentially we were moving. There's a lot of change, and there's a lot of expenses. There's a lot, like I buy a piece of equipment and it takes 7 months to get it in. Our powder coat infrared systems, we started working on the engineer blueprints 13 months before it was delivered. There's so many things. And by the way, when I needed that stuff is the day that we were working on engineering, I already needed it. It was already needed. And you're putting up cash flow for it. So it's essentially like I'm facing time. And that was the biggest struggle for me, was when you need something, I already need it and I can't wait 6 months. And so now you're having to either pause this, you're having to think of things outside of the box. And so really maximizing the amount of time and efficiency. So staffing on multiple shifts, weekend shifts, trying to, there's 24 hours in a day. We need to maximize it to the best of our abilities. And, that's kind of been our biggest struggle, has been more scaling it to the point that it is right now. Now we're finally in a point where, we can do tens of thousands of products in a shift. Not much less, just like, it's the efficiency levels that we have in place right now. We're ready to take on some big retailers. But it didn't, there was a lot of things that needed to be in place before we were ready for it. And so now going through, the entire ERP side, and it's hundreds of thousands of dollars vested into software, which is crazy. But now we can interface and start working with, your Walmarts, Petco's, and start working with some of these national brands, and even looking at a step further into drop shipping for e-com guys. There's a massive market opportunity it fits both sides. One, on my side, being a manufacturer, it constantly keeps my shop busy. It's the more volume of products means lower physical cogs for me. It offsets the cost of everything. Also helps with the fixed and variable expenses of my business. And I would handle it as if it's almost like an FBA model, where I still get the data, and we are white labeling and drop shipping for specific marketers. So, that's something that we're looking into in the future. It's not available right now, but that is something that, it's all to come. So
that would be awesome. So to add a little value to that, what I've been looking for is something that where you can ship a gift plus have a handwritten note with it. And like, if you combine those two things, that would be phenomenal. Because I know I haven't found a place out there. I know there's places that'll do the drop shipping and places that'll do the handwritten note. But like, I think combining the two, especially with your products, would be phenomenal for sure. So what is Colin Wayne's 3 to 5 year plan? What's the future of Redline Steel?
So, the visions that we'll be the largest in the world when competing against Amazon within the home decor space, and have an acquisition within the next 5 to 7 years. That's kind of what the goal is, at $1 billion plus valuation. So 3 to 5 years, I'll likely step down as a CEO, and I'll go into more of like the marketing side and the visionary.
Right.
I'd love to launch some type of nonprofit. When I exit, I want to launch a VC incubator, and hire some of the smartest guys on the planet, put them in one roof. I'm a big advocate of I like people to be in one room, and I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. I want to learn and absorb everything from everybody, but I want to do what I'm passionate about, and that's I love the concept to reality, coming up the visions of launching something like we did for $2 Tuesday. Under 100, we're migrating that to Flash Friday, where we're launching a product with FOMO, the lead capture that goes involved with that. So, having people in so many different spaces, it'd be a lot of fun. So the VC, the venture capital side, that's going to come after we exit. And then who knows, man, I may end up running for Congress or something. I don't know. We'll see.
That'd be awesome. Maybe president.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I'm not going to count it out, but I don't think that I'll do that.
All right. That's awesome. That's great to hear. So I want to kind of, we'll wrap it up here. I want to do a couple of rapid fire questions, just fun personal stuff about you. So I know you have a amazing lineup of cars. Which one of those is your favorite?
Oh boy. So there's the Rolls Royce, right? That's probably my favorite. It doesn't get as much attention, but it's the most comfortable. It's like riding on a cloud. So there's nothing like it. So I would say that one.
Yeah. What is your favorite food? I'm sure that you eat clean, but what?
I'd say gummy bears, man. If it's sweets. I'm a carb guy, so I like pizza, but I'm carb sensitive. And so when I'm dieting for like a photo shoot, I'd go super low carb, cycling, and low carb, high protein, moderate fats. And so I'd say pizza would be my favorite, if anything, and then gummy bears. Hate chocolate though, and I don't like milk.
No milk, no chocolate. Gotcha. Gummy bears, all the gummy bears.
That's right.
All right. Sounds good. Well, what is your favorite, other than working and building a huge company, what is your favorite thing to do outside of work?
Man, I guess spend time with my family, man. I'm an introvert, even though from the outside it looks like I'm, with millions of followers, I'm traveling a good bit, attending, different events and stuff. But I'm a homebody, man. I love to work, and I'm not at work. I don't have a lot of friends. My circle's very, very tight knit. It's very small, and so spending time with my family and my daughters Brenley, and my son Carson, and my wife Brianna.
Awesome. Now to end on that, what is the biggest takeaway for you that you can give as far as like building a family while building a business?
I'll say this, man. For me, and everybody's going to be a little bit uniquely different. There's going to be a lot of sacrifice. There is no balance. You can. If you really want to be successful, man, there is no balance. You're not going to do a 40-hour work week and then you're home for whatever. Like it's just not going to be there. Now, if you want to be like, okay, all I want to do is gross $5,000 a month and pay the bills and be a solo entrepreneur, you could probably balance that and juggle it. It's no issue. But for me, where my vision is, if you're driven and you want to make really, really big leaps and you have a family, understand there's going to be a lot of self-sacrifice towards the beginning stages. And my next advice would be, if you are in the micro and you have to work and you physically have to be at your company, do not vest into other things that, keyword, will take up your time. You want to focus on one thing now. If it's passive, if it's some type of, I'm not saying to have everything into one basket, but if it requires your personal time and it's going to offset from your other business, then give and devote 100% into that. that was one of my mistakes that I've learned is I'd rather not be too diversified and to focus on one thing, hyperscale it, wait till I'm in the macro and not as involved, and then start, dabbling into a couple other things. So.
Yep. That's a hard lesson to learn. I've learned that as well. All right. Last question of the day. If today was your last day on earth, what would Colin Wayne want to be remembered for? And what's your one last tip?
I would say just a man of integrity. I think that's a big word for me. That was the name of my supplement company that I had, and just doing what's right. And that's what makes it so challenging. We had some massive setbacks last year in early 2018, maybe as late 18, early 19. And a lot of things outside of my control. And that's the biggest thing, is when things are outside of your control and you're questioned, and as if it is your fault and you're taking advantage of people. I would say that I just want to be remembered as somebody that did people right and that had integrity behind everything that I did. So.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on the show. Thank you for all of your time. Next time I'm in Huntsville, I have to stop by the office and check it out. Maybe I can steer you for 5 minutes to go cast the line, and we'll go fishing or something.
There you go.
But I appreciate you, appreciate everything that you're doing, and I have no doubt that you'll get to the $1 billion mark here. I mean, you've already built it so quickly. So, in the next 5 years, I'll buy into the company if you start selling shares for sure.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you having me, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Appreciate y'all. Oh, and feel free to connect with me on social media at Colin Wayne 1, across Instagram, Twitter, and they're all verified, Facebook, and then my website, redlinesteel.com, is where you can see some of the products that we're talking about. So.
Perfect. Thank you, Colin. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for listening to the Whiskey with Winners podcast, your home for real and raw stories of industry titans. Make sure to click the button below to subscribe. Follow our journey on Instagram at Most Interesting Marketer and Anchor, Stitcher, YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. Remember to always stay humble, stay hungry, and stay focused.
Everything that I'm saying is out of context. Wait, it's not even really a contest. See, if you already know, then I'm next. Looking at a bodybuilder like Y-Flex. I'm dope in the pot like it's Pyrex. And I do it big just like a T-Rex. A T-Rex, I'm the best to ever do it. Could be so dope when he float to the fucking music. Like, this shit is nasty for real. Yeah, I'm dope. You don't even have to ask me for real, man. Damn, I think I'm going long, I'm going hard. Woo! Who could come up with the bars? I'm a shooting star. I shine bright in the fucking night, and they can't tell me that I'm doing wrong. I do it right, like I'm at the top. So who could really top that? Yeah, and tune in to the podcast.